Have you ever really wondered if you really should be training during the season? Like off season, you should be training and working out. But does it make sense to train during the season too? Help you guys out with that. Number two, should hoopers really be lifting? Like we see players that lift a little bit more. We hear it so much more should be coming. But does it actually make sense for us to train and work out? Help you guys out with that too. And third, last but not least, what in the world is consistency? We hear all the time, consistency is key. You have to be consistent. But what does that really mean? What does consistency actually mean? And how can it make sense to you? I'm gonna answer those three questions for you guys and help you guys out in this month's Big Three. Yo, welcome into the BeBall Jones podcast. The goal of this podcast in my business is to bridge the gap, to fuel hoop dreams, and to impactful realities on the court and beyond. So thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoy it. When it comes to training, when it comes to working out, of course you guys should be training in the off season. It just makes sense to train during the off season. Like off season is the perfect time to get better. But you can also get better and do some things during the in season. So think about it like this, okay? Think about NASCAR, right? When they're on the track and racing around, that's the time where they have the pit stops. And the pit stops, they just do little quick minor details to make sure the car's running. So when the car is in their pit stop, they're just doing small things to get detailed up. So they're putting a little more oil in, make sure the driver has a little bit of water, make sure they're good. They might change out tires, little quick things that can be done to make sure the car is able to race at as best as it can and keep going on the race as best as it can in the best condition that it can for the moment. But during the off season, when the race is done with, that's the time they'll take out the engine. They'll take out all these big parts and pieces to really reconstruct and redo the car the same way we should view training. So during the off season is the perfect time to make big changes to your game. That's the perfect time to really break down your jump shot and really figure out the big piece of the skill that you're missing in your game. So it might be breaking down your jump shot and rebuilding it again. It might be really working on finishing with your left hand. It might really be breaking down detail of how in the world do I get better at shooting off the dribble or get better catch and shoot or better decision making. Whatever that big skill is, you can really fine tune it during the off season and make sure that's the big thing you add into your game. In season, not the time to making big changes. That's the time to fine tune small little details, small things you can do to pick up your game. So either something you did during the off season, you're picking back up on it now and just maintaining it during the in season, or you're fine tuning little things throughout the season that might have lapsed on, might have not had enough time and whatever during the off season to really pick up on. So when it comes to training in season versus off season is the time to make the big changes to really break down your game and figure out the biggest piece that is missing from your car or from your game, or it could be a physical transformation that you go from weighing too much or not weighing enough to where your game can really transform to you put on that weight now your game's looking a lot better and you're physically able to handle and endure the game that you play. Or you try to add this new move to your game. You're trying to really step up your handles because you're struggling to have the ball handling ability that you should to be at the level that you're at, whether you're a point guard, whether you're a big moving to a wing, or you went from ninth grade going to JV or JV going to varsity now. The off season is the perfect time, the key time to really lock in on those skills and make sure that these are the big chunks or the biggest pieces that we're going to transform in our game. The end season is time to make the small tinkers and the small adjustments that you're going. So let's say you're adjusting to being a point guard. Off season, you're going to really work on your ball handling, really work on some pick and roll work, and you might work on a little bit of mid-range or three-point shooting, right? Coming off the dribble more. Because you might have been a two guard, and now you're adjusting to being more of a point guard. So, okay, cool. The big focus is going to be pick and roll, overall ball handling. If you want to go more detailed, ball handling with pressure, and then mid-range shooting or three-point shooting. But all of it has to be off the dribble. Three main focuses, right? And let's say we did that during the summer. Now we're in in-season mode. By the time the in-season gets here, we're already focused on the big three. We've already locked down the big three. Now you might be fine-tuning specific things on the pick and roll. So you might detail the pick and roll of going against a hedge versus going against a drop, or going against a blitz. You might get double team off the pick and roll, and you didn't, adjust it enough to where this defense throwing at you differently, and you're just not able to react to it as best as you can. So In season time to tweak those things versus off season. Went over the pick and roll, you went over the ball handling, you went over your jump shot, but now these last few games you tweaked it a little bit more because now you're fine tuning the things that you worked on before. That's how it should operate when you're looking at in season versus off season. In season is the time to tweak on things you built off of in the off season. Off season, you build up the big rocks, and now you probably like fine tuning it. So you make this big, beautiful sculpture, this big, beautiful painting. You're gonna sit here and do all the big painting work, all the big detail stuff. So when it comes to this painting, the painting has to have all the main outlines and stuff, the main colors on there, and you might, fine tune the ending of this line right here. Not as crispy or defined as you want it to be. Or you might come over here and change a little bit of color over here. But the sculpture has to be mainly done during the off season. In season, you might tweak a little color here. You might little adjustments here, chip off a little bit there. You might try to, clean up the hair or whatever, making small details. But the in season is the time to clean up little details. Off season is the time to really overall break down that rock in the sculptures where that's the main thing, the big meat and potatoes, the meal of your skill. So that's why the training in the off season is so much more you could say like more just you can adapt to it more. Because back to the NASCAR reference, you don't want to sit here and try to take the engine out during the middle of the race. That's taking too much time. You have to really do too much to you have to open up the hood and you have to crank the car up off all fours and get under there, unmove things around the engine so you can get to the engine. Then once you get to the engine, you have to take it out. Then you have to make sure new engine, get the oil and everything in there. Put the engine in there. Now put everything back and lower back down. By the time you've done that, 2 laps are going down from the race and you've lost the ground that you could have made it already. Versus just getting a quick gas or maybe quick oil change. I don't know exactly how it works, but throwing some more gas and keep going around. Quick tires, changing out. That's pretty simple and easy. They literally time people say, hey, you got X amount of time to make sure this driver's back on the track. We got smaller details we need to clean up on. We're not changing the entire car, the entire vehicle around. So that's how it is in your game. If you're looking to get better during the end season, it's not the time to make the big changes and big jumps, unless you're just not hooping a lot. Then you could probably look at tweaking more of your game and the bigger aspect versus the small detail. Because you're already in the groove, you're already in the race. You don't want to sit here and rearrange the whole car now because you're in the middle of it. Like it's not a detail to be focused on right now. But you can focus on the paint and stuff off season. You can focus on the engine. You can recalibrate all these different things because that's the time and space to do it. So that's why you guys need to focus on training in season and not just training in the off season. That's an opportunity to get better and grow your game a little bit more, find some a little bit more detail that you might have missed out on because during the season you throwing at new opportunities and new challenges, you probably get the best chance to clean up on. You can't figure out everything in the off season. So in season is the perfect time to capitalize on and build upon what you already had on the off season. So off season you build up to be level 5, then in season you might get a 5 to 5.4, and then 4.7. 5 to 5.4, and then 5.7, and then get to a 6, all in the end season because you keep building and keep training. And you also don't want to lose the skill that you had. So you do all these works to put up, let's say 500 shots every day. You don't want to lose all of that because you're now shooting 10, 15 shots during games, and then you might shoot a couple 50 during practice. You practice every day. So instead of getting up 600 that day, you drop down and you get 600 that week if you're lucky. So that's a big jump and big scale of the training work you're putting in. You wonder why your shooting not the same during the end season because you're not training and putting the same work you did in the off season. So if that doesn't make sense of how you can train in the end season, comment below, let me know because I'll clarify as better as I can. But that's why you guys should be training during the end season, not just the off season. But hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope it makes sense. I hope you guys really understand the difference between training in season and training off season. Why you need to do it. But thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hey, hold on. Time out real quick. We're going to get back to the episode. I know you're enjoying it. I know you're enjoying the show. But I need you to help me real quick and to make sure that this episode can grow, make sure this podcast and show can grow overall, and you can keep getting great guests like this. Make sure that you subscribe and follow along. So if you watch right now on YouTube, help me out by hitting the subscribe button. Go ahead and do it real quick. If you're listening in your car, chill out for a second. If you're on Apple or on Spotify, just like when you get a moment, hit the follow button, but not right now while you're driving. If you're working out or something, or you chilling in your room, then go ahead and subscribe with me. Like, help me help you, okay? But thank you for watching. I really appreciate you. I'm gonna stop interrupting so you get back to the episode. Thank you. Should you guys really be lifting weights? Like, it doesn't make sense for hoopers to really lift weights. I know we hear all the hype. We see the NBA players lifting after games. And you see them doing a little bit before games. And you see all this talk about how uh, college players are lifting all the time, and then high schools are doing more and more. Does it make sense? Okay, I ain't gonna play with y'all. It does make sense. Here's why you need to do it, okay? Sometimes you can be a really great and skilled player, but because physically you're not at a certain level, it brings your game back down to where you're not as good as you should be. Think about it like this, okay? The iPhone 14 has certain software, okay? Everybody's favorite phone, iPhone, has certain software in there, and that software works only on the physical certain phones. Like, so I can work on the 13 and up. You can't have the software new updates on the iPhone 14 the same on the same phone as the iPhone 7. It doesn't operate like that. So you have to keep updating the physical phone as well as the software to make things match. So think about it like this. Certain songs sound amazing in the right headphones, in the right car, the right speaker. You put them same songs, the same album on that weak speaker over there, on the weak headphones, it doesn't sound the same. It sounds terrible. The same way you want that quality of music to be, the same way your game should be the same way. So you won't sit here and just have your music playing through your phone versus the headphones versus the car. 3 different sound experiences you're going to have with the same exact song, the same exact music. The same way your game is. Because if your body and the skill level aren't matching, it's going to hurt you. So if you're a very physical person and you're driving down a lane, you're trying to create contact, but you're too weak, you're going to fall off your path, and now the layup is a miss. Versus if you're stronger, you can take that contact or create the contact, and now you're finishing, and it's 2 points versus a turnover or versus a missed layup. So that's why the hardware has to match the software and bring those two together. So now you're a better player. It's not as complicated as we make it seem sometimes, but it's really small tweaks like that that can make the jump from being a okay player to a really, really good player, or a really good player to a great player. It's the small details of jumping up in those levels, because you can have all the skill in the world. Like, you can really be skilled and have a high level of skill. But if your physical makeup doesn't match the skill level, it hurts. So you can be a great ball handler, you can be a great shooter, but if you're a great ball handler, but every time you get a little contact, you're flopping everywhere, or you just get hit and you can't finish going to the goal, it hurts your game now. Or if you're a great shooter, but as soon as you're running off that line and you're trying to go to the goal, you're done now because you don't have the physical strength to just hold your space as you need to. Or if you're on defense and somebody bumps into you, you're just flying everywhere because the offense is just more powerful than you. But if you lift a little bit of weights, it'll help you out. But also think about it like this too. You tie your shoes, right? And you have to retie them at a certain point throughout the day. And nobody questions you if you have to retie your shoes. It's perfectly fine. But think about if you had to keep retying your shoes way too often. Now it's an issue because certain things is like, bro, do you know how to tie your shoes right? Because why you keep retying your shoes 15 times in this 1 hour practice? Like, let's sit down and really think about this. So think about the same way with your game, where it's okay to retire your shoes. It's okay to re-up your game and have little small details to figure back out to help you get back going and get back on that horse of whatever you're going towards in your game. So if you're let's think about like a Kyrie, right? Sometimes lifting weights is going to be a small detail to help him elevate his game and express his game more. He's very physical and very he like to use his hands and arms a lot when it comes to driving to the goal and creating contact. But if he was weaker and he wasn't as strong, those small bumps would throw him off more. But he also get hurt a lot too. So those injuries can add up a lot more because he's not in the gym or he's not working out like he needs to. So the gym is also a good space to clean up all the little details, like I said, retiring your shoe. So over time, the wear and tear happens over and over again, but going in the weight room can help, I don't say undo, but help mend some of the wear and tear that you get in there. Same way as retiring your shoe. So you tie your shoe in the morning. At some point throughout the day, it loosens up a little bit more, and loosens up a little bit more, and loosens up more to where it's undone. So in the weight room, if you're if you're let me go back on the basketball court, you're making the same moves, running the same patterns, doing the same things. You're jumping and landing, and the wear and tear on your knees are going to happen. Going to the weight room and working out can really help minimize and help aid the forces and the pain you could be going through because you're training to help pair and match up with what you're doing on the court. But if you don't have anything to help on the other side of it, at some point the shoestring going to keep getting loose, getting loose. Then you're going to have an injury happen, and now you're dealing with big injuries now. Versus if you just tied your shoe and retie it, now you're good. Versus you just go to the weight room and you're jumping a lot, but you never do anything for your tendons, you never do anything for your knees, you never do anything for your ankles. Now you have this big injury happen, and you're looking crazy, just wondering what happened to the season. So that's why you got to do lift weight. So one is the software, the skill that you have. You can be a great IQ player, a great high skilled player, but if the hardware is very soft and very fragile, that bone's going to break and your body's going to break down. And also, it's just the wear and tear of the game to where if Allen Iverson would lift a little bit of weights and had a little bit of performance training in his game, he might have lasted a couple more years and his prime could last a little bit longer. He could have had a few less injuries. Not saying it would have happened, but smaller things would have added up over time to where his game could have either got here, it could have got here faster, stayed there longer, and then the descent would have been a little bit slower. So for most of you guys, it can be you can get to your game, you can the software and hardware can get here and help you get there faster or get there quicker by not doing anything. And then you can maintain your high level of play a lot better because you're in physical shape. And then if an injury happens or you start to slow down a little bit, it doesn't happen as sharp, LeBron James, because you're in such a great shape because you've been in the weight room and on the court too. So it's really simple as that, guys. Like it's you should be lifting weights. I'm not saying you have to go out here and squat 500 pounds. So you have to do this crazy workout, but it's just a small little thing of adding more capabilities to the hardware to match the software. Small little things of tightening up the right things and making sure that you can endure the work that you put in on the court. Make sure your body can uphold to it too, and make sure that's just not skill, and work, game. And on the other side of it, your body's just broke down and beat up. So find a good balance of it. I'm not saying you have to be in there 24/7, 365 because the game comes first. But being in there 3 times a week, 4 times a week, or little stuff every day can add up to where now your skill shines a little bit brighter and a little bit better to where now you're a great hooper. So if you still have questions about if you should be lifting weights or anything about lifting weights, comment below. Let me know. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed.
All right. Okay. Another timeout. Okay. Look, if you got to this point, you have to be enjoying the episode. Like you have to. At this point in the episode, you're enjoying it. So help me help you. Just if you're on Apple right now and you're on your phone, okay, just take your phone, press the subscribe button. It's right there. Just do that with me. Even if on your laptop, take your mouse, boom, click over, boom, do your thing. Now you subscribe. Now you linked in because you don't want to miss the next great episode that I have. But doing stuff like this helps the episode grow, makes the show grow, and the podcast grow so I can keep getting great guests and keep doing great interviews. So if you listen on Apple or Spotify, take a second, look at your phone, press the follow button, okay? And share with a friend or two because you'll find the value in this. You want to have this conversation with your friends so they can have the same value. Now the whole basketball community can grow. All right. Thanks for listening so far. I'm gonna get out your way. Let's get back to the episode. Appreciate you.
Aristotle once said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. So when it comes to being consistent, consistency is what you do and who you are and how you behave. Think about it like this, okay? We all go to Chick-fil-A. We all love Chick-fil-A. But why is it? Because Chick-fil-A gives us the great service. It gives us good food. And all this stuff is going to be the same. So you go to one Chick-fil-A on the east side, the same thing at the west side. The customers have the same. The employees going to wear the same stuff. The manager's going to have the same stuff. It's going to be the same menu. You get the same quality of food. Pretty much everyone. That's just how it is. But can we take that and make that make sense for our basketball game? And I say yes. So I want to help you with this. I want to help you redefine what consistency really means and how you can apply it. Because usually when we hear consistency, we automatically think, I have to be doing this every single day. I have to do this all the time, or Monday through Friday. I have to be consistent. And that's true, but it's also not the full truth. Because it's not an everyday, every time thing. Okay, there is, but it's not. It's also can be once a week. It can be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It can be Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. It can be just have some level of stability around whatever you're talking about. So to be, excuse me, to be a consistent player is not the everyday type of thing. When you talk about the superstar players in the game, like LeBron, let's say LeBron's averaging 28, 8, and 8, right? Every single game he's not going to have 28 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. But his overall game will be known as be consistent to be able to average around 28 points. In some games he might have 30, next game he might have 18, and next game he has 26. But overall, when you weigh out the good and the bad and put everything else to the middle, it's going to bring you about 28 points. Same thing with the rebound, same thing with the assist. So let me help you guys out. Let's be very, very clear right here and give you the definition of it. Webster says that consistency is acting or done in the same way over time, especially so as to be fair or accurate. You can think about it as being stable, even, regular, or uniform. Let's go to uniform right there. Okay, uniform, right? What I said about Chick-fil-A? Uniform at Chick-fil-A is going to be the same thing. You're going to see certain people wearing red shirts, some people wearing gray shirts, some people wearing black shirts or white shirts. Wherever it is, it's got the same uniform across the board. So you know that this is the regular ant level employee, and this is the manager, bigger ant employee, and this is the queen bee. Whatever it is, you know the uniform is. So do you have this with your game though, to where you have this thing in your game that you can be stable with, or you can be reliable with, you can be consistent with? It's not the fact that every single game you're going to put up these numbers, but can I count on you to be consistent and be a shooter? Can I count on you to be the person that I know can shoot the ball at enough clip to where if we give you 10 attempts, I feel like you can hit at least one of them. Or if we give you 10 attempts, we know you can hit at least four of them. But your game being consistent will depend on you and what you can do. So I like to tell my players, man, what can the coach count on you for? What's that one thing that you know, the coach know, your teammates know, and the fans that watch your game enough know that they can count on you for this. We all know somebody's role is to score, somebody's role is to shoot. Somebody scores a rebound and play great defense. Somebody's role is to just be do all the dirty work. So as a loose balls, ignore the point guard 94 feet, get all the hustle points, and all the little stuff like that. That's somebody's role. We can count them for that. They can be consistent in that role of doing that thing. And having that identity of being consistent in that role can really help you out with a coach. Like I'm gonna put you on camera here. Coaches love players that we know we can get you for. Okay, so a couple of years ago, I was coaching this young lady. I was coaching this player, and she wasn't the fastest. She wasn't the tallest. She wasn't even really the best shooter. She was really good shooter, solid, but she might have had not, if we like ranked the players or everything, she might not have been like number one at anything. Like maybe some IQ, but she might not have been number one at anything. But she was probably she was probably the most valuable player on that team. She probably played the most of any girl on that team too. But it's because she was the most consistent. We could count on her to do these things no matter what the time was, no matter what the score was, what the opponent was, regardless of what was going on, she would show up and do these things for us. She would be the stable rock no matter what was going on. She would be the stable rock. She would be the flag. We could plant our team around and say, hey, we have this right here, and she's going to show up and do X, Y, and Z. And she will produce every single time. It might not necessarily be the stat. She might have ended the game with like 2 points and 4 or 5 rebounds and 3 assists. That's not anything crazy. But you didn't see how she was able to play point guard this game, get us under control, and make sure everybody's in the right space at the right time, and make sure that when she got the ball, she slowed it down or pushed it at the right time. Or she had the hockey assist, and that got us in the right position. Or she said the perfect screens every time to get us going in our offense. So she, called the right plays that helped the point guard calm down and say, hey, go here and not go there. Or the next game, she's playing center because the big got fouled out and the other girl got sick, or she got hurt, or we just undersized this game, whatever. She's playing center in this game, and she just showed up every single time, rebounding, boxing out the big on defense. She's at the right place at the right time. And then just causing turnovers because she's trapping and she's helping at the right spot. and try to swing out of it, she don't get the stat for trapping and putting pressure on that guard. But because she swung it and her teammate was there to steal it, now the steal gets counted for the team rather than just for her. But we knew she could do something, contribute to the team every single time. She would be the most consistent player on that team, night in, night out, day in, day out. But can you say that about your game? Can a coach say that about you to where we know no matter what the time is, no matter what the score is, she's going to show up and do this for us every single night. Man, little Jimmy, he's going to go down there and play scrappy defense every single game. That's what real consistency is. It's not about you being a 30-point scorer every night. It's to say, man, it's 30 this game, 16 this game, 20 this game, 7, but then go back up to 24, and then you're just able to maintain a high level of scoring volume every single time. And I know you're wondering, man, like, man, I want to do that, man. I want to be a consistent player. I want to be that caliber of player. The real question is, are you putting that level of work? Is your work ethic consistent to match the level of the outcome to be consistent that you want to have? Are you training consistently? Are you regularly going out here and putting up the shots or regularly work on your ball handling? Is your work ethic consistent? Again, it doesn't have to be every day, but is the quality of your work, is the input of your work going to match the outcome that you want to have? So if you want to be a level 8 player, is not necessarily the best player on the team, but they're like a Scottie Pippen. So this is your work ethic match Scottie Pippen type of player. Are you going out there training 4 days a week and you regularly going out there with level of intensity, consistently putting in that level of input? So you can go out there 4 times, but if only 2 of them are really quality sessions, or 1 of them only really quality session, other 2 are kind of just going through the motions, I say, that really help your game out. Not really. So you can't question the outcome of being consistent without having the income of being consistent. You can't say you're going to be a high level player without having a high level work ethic or a high level input or high level training. So I do that. And you get to that point by the people at the gym. You go to the gym every day. The people know, man, Sabrina's going to be here around 4 o'clock every single day. I know she's going to work on ball handling first. She's going to work on farm shooting. She's going to go into her shooting. She's going to do this. Every day he's going to come in here around 6 o'clock, go lift weights for about 45 minutes, and go to the court, do this, and maybe hoop for like 2 games, and then go home. Can your neighbors say, this girl going to get up and run every single morning around 6 o'clock? We just know this for a matter of fact. It's a daily thing. And you get to that point where people know you for being that thing, you reach another level of consistency because you're going to be looked at as a consistent person, consistent player. And so when you do shine and do get the outcome you're looking for, it's not going to be a surprise as much because you've been putting the work to be consistent and do that. And so you should be getting people's nerves by, man, I have that basketball bounce every single morning, 6 a.m., 5:30 on the dot. I know she loved basketball, but boy, I didn't know she loved basketball. Be getting up every single day, shooting that basketball for 30 minutes every day. 5:30 to 6 o'clock, she's doing it every day. And I remember when I was growing up, man, I don't even know who this person was, but somewhere in my neighborhood, we would hear someone practicing the horn. Okay, I don't know exactly what instrument it was, but it was some level of instrument that was a horn type instrument. I don't know exactly what it was, but we would hear it, and a lot of times after school, I'd be so annoyed because they would play that joint almost every day. And it got to a point where sometimes I'm looking at my phone like, man, this dude or this girl's out here doing it again. I've been going at it for a while, like a good hour. I'm like, bro, I'm trying to play the video game. What are you doing? Why are you disturbing my video game presence with your trombone playing or your I don't know what it was, but your horn playing? But in middle school, it would happen. Some points in high school, it would happen. And as I got older, I started to respect it because I understood what consistency really was and how to do that every single day and to be able to do that, prior you didn't feel like it. I respected that more and more. And I don't know what happened with them, but I'm pretty sure they did a pretty decent job of going, even if it wasn't musically going somewhere, they went somewhere in life because they built up that habit of consistency and be able to know that this person is going to show and be consistent how we need them to, when we need them to, whatever. And I wish I would have added that to my game in my life and did it sooner and realized it sooner to be like, man, that should be me my basketball. That should be me my running. That should be me with this. I caught on to it a little too late. So I don't really, I don't say I'm jealous of them, but I'm jealous of them because I wish I would have had that earlier. Because that consistency was something that the neighborhood knew, because you can't help but hear them throughout the windows and stuff because it's loud. So that next level of consistency means something because now you're spreading just outside of you and outside your household. Now you got the neighborhood involved. Now you're getting the city involved because it's that level of consistency that you have to be there and show up no matter what, no matter how you feel, whatever. So hopefully I'm not overcomplicating this. You know, I hope you're not overcomplicating this. It doesn't have to be this big miracle, magical thing of being consistent because there's something that you're doing right now that you're consistent with. Just every single morning, you have this thing to be a habit of doing this thing. It's something that you're consistent with, but it's not in the area that you want it to be. It's not in your game. It's not in your practicing. It's not in your schoolwork, whatever it is. But there's something that you're doing that you're consistent with that you can transfer. You have the ability to be consistent. It's not in the area that you want it to be. So you can figure out that you're every morning you're brushing. Well, I hope you're brushing your teeth. But if every morning you're brushing your teeth, you know you can get up and brush your teeth. Every night you know you're brushing your teeth. You're showing yourself that you can be consistent to do this thing, night in, night out, doing whatever. It doesn't matter. And that muscle of being able to be consistent to brush your teeth can easily transfer over to basketball. You just have to figure out how to do it. So you can put your shoes on every day. You can get your basketball shoes on and go outside. If you can go and play Fortnite every night and do it for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 2 hours, you can go outside and train and live to watch film, whatever, for X amount of time. If you can go out and watch the latest shows, you can watch all the cartoons, and you can watch the latest thing on TV, watch the movie that comes out, you can sit here and do the same thing for your game if you really want to. So being consistent is not as difficult as it may to be, but it's just this wall of this first hurdle of getting over that jump of being terrible at it or uncomfortable doing it at first. You have to get over that hump and then build it to where it's a habit. Build it to where you really want to do it and make it become a part of your life. Because like I said before, excellence is what we do repeatedly. It's not just something, it's not an act that you do, it's not something that you do every once in a while, not something that you just fall into. It's a habit. So if you want to have a high level of consistency, a high level of excellence, make it into a habit rather than just something that you do every once in a while. Because we've seen players who just have a game where they're on fire. That's one game that season that they'll probably never get back in. That one, the one play I'm talking about. That one player that just has a game and they just went crazy, hit 5 threes in the game, and the rest of the season, the max they hit might have been 2 a game. We've all seen it before, but that's not them. It's not the excellence that they maintain. It was an act, but the habit of being a great shooter means you're going to average 3 threes a game. You might have fell off and had one this game. This game you're going to have 4. Average out to be 3. So just having that level of consistency with your game is that next step. Because you can do it. Now it's being able to do this thing habitually, make it a habit, make it routine. So, and maybe all this needs to be thrown out the window because maybe you're just lazy. And I think that's okay. Maybe basketball's not your thing. That's fine. Just don't be consistent with it. But I think the more we can funnel the idea of what this really want to do, you'll figure out ways to get it done. You'll make it to a habit. So how can we make it to where I'm consistent over in this area and make it transfer over to this area, which is basketball? I'm gonna leave that for you to think about. So how can you, what is your plan? What is your game plan? What is your game plan? What's your playbook to break down and say, I'm consistent with brushing my teeth. I'm consistent with going out to my friends. I'm consistent with doing whatever it is. How can I be consistent from this area, transfer over to this area, which is basketball? If you really want to do it, if you really want to make this thing work, you'll figure it out. That might be another video. How can you compare consistency? But that's it, man. I feel like we're rambling on for a minute, but hope these guys help you understand what consistency is and how you can really reframe consistency and how you can add it to your life a little bit better. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you. Let me know if you want to understand what consistency is. Let me know if you want to get more. What else you want to hear me talk about from here. So thank you. I appreciate you. Have a good one.